Hi, this is Katie Simpson. Welcome back to Drawing and Watercolor Painting Summer School. I'm super excited to help you finish your wetland watercolor painting today. So we worked through all of this stuff last week, and you already have a drawing and you've already put a wash into the sky of your painting. So your painting should look a little bit like this. So you've got that blue stuff in the sky and in the water, and all of that's dry and you're ready to go. So when you put colors next to this dry paint, it won't blend together. So you're in a good spot right now. I'm excited to show you what to do next, which is the rest of the painting. So it's gonna be really fun. We'll talk a little bit about mixing a couple different colors that you probably will want. The rest of the time, yeah, just have fun. So we're gonna work hard and just finish your painting. Take as long as you need to. I want you to look at this Richard Mayhew painting again. If you notice, all of the brush strokes tell us which way the wind is blowing. You can tell there's a lot of different plants in here, but you can't see every blade of grass. So I want you to remember this when you look at your own work and while you're working. Don't worry too much. It doesn't have to be exactly a picture of what you see. Just do your very best to paint what you see, and fill up the rest of the white space in the painting with paint today. That's going to be your goal. So let's take a look at your picture from before. So I want you to get out your same picture from before, or find it on your tablet, or if you've got it printed out, or go to the end of the video and look at it again and look at all the different colors that you see. There are lots of colors in nature. So you're going to find a lot of different greens and some browns that are amazingly golden and rich, or like sort of dusty, and we'll talk about building some of those colors together. Here I am in Watsonville, California, near Struve Slough. This is an amazing wetland with lots of specific plants and animals. I'm just watching a swallow fly around and catch insects. It's a beautiful place, and I'm excited to do some art with you about this type of place. Also, we just saw an osprey and a great blue heron when we got here. They haven't shown up for this video, but they're invited. Here I am in Santa Cruz, California, near Corcoran Lagoon. You can see the tules right behind me. All of this stuff is tule wreaths. Super cool. There's lots of different specific plants and birds and animals here. And this is a coastal wetland, so the beach is very close by. There's some snowy egrets back there. It's hard to see them. I'll try to get closer up. Lots of wetland animals. And we'll check out some tules in a minute. Oh, here's some ducks are coming up to us over here. Let's see if we can check them out. Lots of cool wetland plants here. Now that we talked about a couple of different wetland landscapes out in nature, and you've seen some examples of other paintings by young people, I want you to think about working as hard as you can to fill up all of the white space in your painting, okay? All right, let's get painting. So I've got my painting and I've got my picture. If you need to pull this up on your tablet, it's good timing to do that. And if you need to look at the picture from last time, that's a good time. Wherever you have your picture, as closely as you can look at it is good. And you're going to notice all the different things that are happening. Let me show you a couple of different colors actually first before we go. I'm just going to show you on the back of this, but yeah. So a lot of the time we're going to want to get this beautiful golden brown that's in the hills around here. So I'm going to get brown. Here's the color I'm trying to match. Golden But it's not just that brown that comes with the watercolor set. I'm going to get this yellow, put that up here too. I feel like it usually has quite a bit of yellow and quite a bit of water in it. Remember, we're waking up the paint. You probably haven't used it for a week. Maybe you have, but we're waking it up. There we go. And then we have this beautiful color that we can use for different plants that are often in the hills or in the background or different parts of your picture. So here's a good example that has a lot of this color, or colors that are like it. And if you needed to, you might add a little bit of some other color to it to make it look more like that. If you add a tiny, tiny bit of black, hardly any black at all. I'm just gonna touch my paintbrush to that, just the tip of it. I can dull the color down and make it look a little bit more dusty or darker. So yeah, there, I quite like that. So a lot of the time people want to know how to make turquoise, and we went over that already, but I'm going to show you again because you might want it for some of your picture. So I got some water up there on the palette lid and some green. And then I rinsed out my brush really good, and I'm going into the blue. And remember, this is a really important time to practice rinsing out your brush in between your times of going into the colors, because it's so easy to get the colors mixed together. And I'll show you an example at the end of the video of some times from before. Just look at that beautiful turquoise color. That's so nice. And I can see that this picture has some of that in it. What if we had like ripples in the water or something, you know, with that color? Beautiful. So, and I actually see a little bit of that color in my picture, so I may add some of that. We did the water already, but you might want to add a little bit of extra detail with yours. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to look very closely at this picture, and I do have a cloud line in there, and I don't want to color in the cloud line at all. I want to finish the rest of the painting today, though. I want to fill in everything that I can in my painting with color, and I don't want to leave any white except for something that I want to be white, like the clouds. So I see in mine that there's a whole big line of this golden color across the painting. So I'm going to put a little bit of a wash in of that. But I'm using my brush carefully to make some lines with this too. Now let me show you what I'm doing with my brush too. This is the wrong kind of paper, but I've got a paper scrap around. I'm going to show you just the pressure that I'm putting on the brush against the paper. Hardly at all. And I'm being gentle with this brush. So I want to take good care of it. It'll last a really long time if I take care of it. But if I smush its hair against the paper, I might not be able to use it again, like even one more time. So I'm just being very careful. And you can get thin lines this way too. If you press the brush down harder, you get a thick line, but if you press it down lightly, super lightly, you get a very thin line. So that's super fun. So I'm just going to paint. I'm just going to get some paint on my painting. And I'm probably going to skip around a little bit. So feel free to pause the video when you need to do some painting. You could paint, honestly, on this painting for an hour. You might be done in an hour. You might be done faster than that. If you're really fast, if you're a fast painter, I want you to, you know, get as much paint on there as you can and then look again at the details. Okay? I want you to figure out how to fit in every detail that you see. If you're a slow painter, which is totally fine too. Everybody's a different style of painter. So I want you to just try to fill in all of the white space that you see. And feel free to pause whenever you need to. Now I got a really dark color by mixing my green that I'd made with some brown. And I know we talked about not using black in your painting. A little bit we talked about that the last time we worked, to ignore the black in the palette. But I have this color that's almost like black, and I just wanted to show you. I'm using it for shadows, but you really don't need to use that black, okay? Because it'll take over your picture, especially something up outdoors, because none of this stuff, there's no black, you know? Those dark parts are dark green and dark brown. So here's a dark green that I got just by putting some brown into my green. So, and that's kind of like, we talked about mixing all the different colors together to get a brown. You sometimes will get something that's almost black too. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna keep working. So if you notice, a lot of my colors are blending together, the ones that I'm putting on today, but the colors that I put on, the blue that I put on last week, is not blending in with that color because it's totally dry. So this technique where we're putting wet paint next to wet paint, that's called wet on wet. We talked about that a little bit before. But when we're putting wet paint on dry paint or on dry paper, that's called wet on dry. And that won't blend together. The paint will stay right where it is. So I'm noticing a lot of my paint is blending. So I want to take my time, you know, be careful as I can. And then I'm trying to move my brush around to different parts of the paper also, so I can let the paint dry a little bit. So take your time, okay? Just have fun. My painting is pretty wet, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and it's actually going to dry kind of a lot in 5 minutes. So I would suggest you do the same thing. Take a little 5-minute break, have a snack or something, and come back. So it's been about 5 minutes, and my painting is much more dry. And I'm going to put the finishing touches on it. So I'm going to get some of this grass in the foreground, I think, a little bit better. I think that's, most of it's a little bit of a yellow-green. So again, remember, I'm making yellow-green by adding green and yellow together on the lid of my palette. Pretty nice yellow-green there. And then I'm gonna make nice long reed lines here. With my brush, I'm pressing gently. And I'm thinking about the winds when I'm doing this. Thinking about how beautiful nature is. And this way I can get the foreground to be a little bit more in focus. Now, in only 5 minutes, so much of my painting dried. So I feel like it's good to take a little bit of a break for you guys too. But remember to come back to it because you want to be done today. So we're practicing being patient and persevering here. And keep on working, keep on working until you're happy with it. Okay, my friends, keep up the great work. You're doing such a good job. Thank you for your patience waiting for this painting to dry, not only from last week, but just for a minute earlier. Next week, we're going to start another 2-week project. So I'm really excited to work with you some more. Okay, keep working on your painting until you're done. And have a great day. See you later. Don't forget to clean the lid of your palette with your paper towel too. I just wanted to show you this palette to you because the last person that used it didn't clean it out at all. So if this happens to you, once that the palette's dry, you can use a wet cloth to wipe out all the paint. It does take kind of a long time and you're going to end up throwing some of your paint away. Best thing you can do for yourself, for your future self, and also for your paint, because we need to give our materials respect, is to clean it up and take good care of it while you're painting, and then you won't have to go through this later on.